The desert seemed endless. Miles of black highway cut through the lonely wilderness of New Mexico like a scar. The moon hung low and pale above the distant mesas, casting silver light over the empty landscape. Scott tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "You sure this shortcut is right?" his girlfriend Melissa asked. She glanced at the GPS mounted on the dashboard. The screen flickered. "That's what it says," Scott replied. The GPS suddenly went black. Melissa frowned. "That's weird." The radio crackled with static, then silence. The car felt isolated, swallowed by the vast darkness surrounding them. "Okay," Scott said nervously. "That's a little creepy." Melissa laughed. "You're scared of a broken GPS?" "No, I'm scared of being stranded in the middle of nowhere." The road stretched ahead, empty and lifeless. Then Melissa pointed. "What is that?" Far ahead, silhouetted against the moonlight, stood a massive stone structure atop a rocky hill. It looked like the ruins of an old church. Scott slowed. "I did not see that on the map." As they approached, they noticed something else. Statues, dozens of them. Dark stone figures lined the roof of the ruined building. Gargoyles, their wings spread wide, their faces twisted into expressions of hatred and agony. Melissa shivered. "Let's keep driving." Scott nodded. But the engine sputtered. The headlights dimmed, then the car died. The silence that followed felt unnatural. Neither of them spoke. The old church sat only 100 yards away, watching, waiting. "We'll call for help," Scott said. "Well, no signal, of course." Melissa looked toward the church. "I don't want to stay there." The wind howled across the desert. Reluctantly, they grabbed a flashlight and headed towards the ruins. The ancient wooden doors hung crooked on rusted hinges. Inside, dust coated everything. Broken pews littered the floor. Moonlight poured through shattered stained glass windows. The gargoyle statues could be seen perched along the upper walls. Melissa aimed the flashlight upward. The beam crossed dozens of stone faces. Their eyes seemed almost alive. "I hate this place." Scott forced a smile. "We'll stay here until morning." Something moved overhead. A scraping sound. Stone grinding against stone. The noise lasted only a second. Then it stopped. Melissa froze. "You heard that, right?" Scott nodded. His stomach tightened. The flashlight trembled in his hand. They searched the church but found nothing. No animals, no people, only silence. Hours passed. The couple sat near the altar, wrapped in jackets against the cold desert night. At some point, Melissa fell asleep. Scott remained awake, watching, listening. Then he heard it again, a scraping sound. The sound came from above. Slowly, he lifted the flashlight. One of the gargoyles was gone. His pulse exploded. He counted again. There had been 6 statues above the altar. Now there were 5. The beam darted around the room. Nothing. Then a heavy thud echoed somewhere behind him. Scott spun. The flashlight landed on a stone gargoyle crouched beside a pew. Its wings folded, its claws dug into the wood. Its eyes were closed, like a statue, like it had always been there. Scott's breath caught. Melissa woke. "What happened?" He pointed. The gargoyle sat motionless. Melissa stared. "Was that there before?" "No." The creature's eyes opened. Yellow, burning. The gargoyle smiled. Melissa screamed. The thing launched itself forward. The pew exploded into splinters. Scott grabbed Melissa's hand and ran. The gargoyle's wings unfolded with a thunderous crack. Behind them came the sound of claws scraping stone. They burst through the church doors and sprinted into the desert. Moonlight revealed something horrifying. The other gargoyles were gone too. Every statue had vanished from the church. Dark shapes circled overhead. One swooped low. Its leathery wings blocked out the moon. The creature landed in front of them. 8 feet tall, stone skin, razor claws, rows of needle-like teeth. Melissa screamed again. The gargoyle lunged. Scott pulled her aside just in time. Its claws tore through the ground where they had stood. More shapes descended. 5, 10, 20. The entire church had been covered in gargoyles. Now they surrounded the couple. Scott's mind raced. Then he remembered something. Back inside the church, above the altar, he had seen an inscription carved into stone. A warning. At the time, it hadn't made sense. Now it did. Do not remain after midnight. He looked at his watch. The creatures advanced. Melissa gripped his arm. We're going to die. Then a voice echoed across the desert. Deep, ancient, hungry.
You have awakened them.
The gargoyle suddenly stopped. A larger shadow descended from the sky. Far larger. The creature landed atop a nearby rock formation. The ground shook. It stood nearly 20 feet tall. Its wings stretched wider than a truck. Its eyes glowed red. The King Gargoyle. The others bowed. Melissa began crying. The monster stared directly at Scott. Then it spoke.
After 100 years, another keeper arrives.
Scott frowned. What? The creature smiled. And suddenly Scott felt something burning beneath his skin. Pain erupted through his body. Bones cracked. His spine twisted. Melissa backed away. His hands hardened. Gray stone spread across his flesh. Claws burst from his fingertips. The Gargoyle King laughed.
The last keeper has died.
Visions flooded Scott's mind. A lonely traveler, a desert road, a ruined church, 100 years earlier. Another man, another victim, another transformation. The truth slammed into him. The gargoyles were never hunting prey. They were searching for a replacement. Melissa stared in horror as Scott's face began changing. Stone consumed his skin. His teeth sharpened. Wings erupted from his back. Scott, she screamed. He tried to answer. Only a monstrous growl emerged. The Gargoyle King spread its wings.
The desert belongs to you now.
The other creatures took flight. One by one, they disappeared into the darkness. Soon only Scott and Melissa remained. Melissa stepped backward. Tears streamed down her face. For a moment, he still recognized her, still remembered her, still loved her. Then the transformation finished. The last fragments of humanity vanished. The hunger arrived. Ancient, bottomless. Melissa saw it happen. She saw the recognition leave his eyes, saw the predator emerge. The creature that had once been Scott opened its wings. The desert wind howled. Melissa turned and ran screaming into the darkness. The gargoyle watched her disappear. Then it launched into the night sky. The next morning, police found Ethan's abandoned car beside the highway. Melissa was never found. Neither was any trace of the ruined church. Locals claim no such building had ever existed. But travelers still tell stories about a lonely stretch of highway in New Mexico. A place where GPS signals die, where radios go silent, where strange stone statues can sometimes be seen on distant cliffs beneath the moon. Most disappear before dawn, except for one, a newer gargoyle. its face frozen forever in an expression of terror. And if someone shines a light directly into its eyes, they sometimes notice something impossible. The statue appears to be crying.